Hey everyone, welcome back to Pretending with Dice. As always, I'm your host and game master, AJ. Happy New Year! I hope you all had a great holiday season and are looking forward to 2022 as much as we are. This year, in May, will be our 5th anniversary of the podcast, which is crazy. I mean, the time's absolutely flown by. And also, at some point this year, probably not too far away actually, we'll actually be hitting episode 100 of the podcast, which is, just a real milestone. Eagle-eyed viewers will maybe have clocked that we've already technically put out over 100 episodes of the podcast, but I'm just not really counting bonus episodes in that. At any rate, though, we've got so much good stuff planned for this year, and I really can't wait to share it all with you. I hope you'll take the journey with us. Here's to a great 2022. Finally then, so just a quick intro this time, before we get into today's episode, the first of the year, I just wanted to point everyone once again to our new portal online, pretendingwithdice.com. No matter where you found us, links to all of our important pages can be found on there. There's links to all of our social media pages, a direct invite link to our Discord, our Ko-Fi page, as well as direct links to the podcast feed on Podbean, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you're enjoying the show, it's never been easier to share it with a friend, and we really appreciate it when people spread the word. So yeah, once again, that's pretendingwithdice.com. Okay then, so without any further ado, let's get into today's episode. Enjoy. Captain's Log, Stardate 55075.1. Our progress towards Deep Space 3 has resumed following our unscheduled stop in the Zukir system. A thoroughly worthwhile diversion, I think all involved will agree, however. I am reliably informed that the Astrometrics Department got all the data they were hoping for from the solar event, but for me, finding marooned members of our Starfleet family who've been lost for so long was the most important, if unexpected, part of the mission. That our own first officer's father was among those rescued is an incredible but welcome coincidence. Upon learning of this, I of course told Talyn she could take as much time as she needs to catch up with her father, but she's assured me she'll not miss a single duty shift. That's just her way, I guess. I won't push the issue, but with over a week left in our journey, I hope she can find some time to reconnect. It is late morning in the USS Tenzing's main sickbay. Dr. Ireela, for the greater part of the day so far, you've been, along with your staff, conducting a series of routine medical examinations and checkups on the rescued crew of the USS Tyr. Tanen, William, Jovar, and finally, currently sitting on the edge of an examination bed in front of you, Sarah. It has, after all, it's been 28 years since any of these survivors have had a proper medical exam, and indeed for Jovar, this was a completely new experience. Sarah seems relatively calm, your empathic senses tell you, as you make your checks, just with a sort of general low level of apprehension that you recognise as sort of fairly normal when it comes to examining patients in general. It's just sort of medical anxiety. Can I get a reasoned medicine check from you? Difficulty 1, please. 11 and a 6, it's 2 successes, so you gain a momentum from that. We are back down to 0 momentum, by the way, as well, because it's been a couple of days. This is really a routine is the right word for sort of what this kind of check is for you. This is just kind of a kind of in-depth sort of scan check for any kind of anomalies or anything, and she seems pretty remarkably healthy, really, considering she's been away from, most kind of modern medical conveniences and everything. The one sort of anomaly you note is that she's sort of seems to be at the beginnings of some dental sort of distress, kind of, not distress is the wrong word. She could do with some dental work, basically, is really... That is the main sort of takeaway from this full examination, really. Everything else, though, she's in quite good shape.
Well, Sarah, you appear to have got through the last couple of decades with pretty much no harm at all. I'm quite impressed.
That's good to hear. We were fairly lucky. Most of the tier's basic medical supplies survived the crash, and I guess that Starfleet emergency med training stuck with me.
Well, you did better than most of the people do when they're on board ship. So... Nothing at all I'd need to worry about then? No, we'll get you booked in a week or so. We'll double check a couple of things and we'll take care of that dental stuff for you.
I had worried about that, yes. We managed to find plenty to eat on Drakir after a fashion, but from what we could gather, the natural sugar content was a little bit higher than in Earth vegetation. Good for the taste, but not the teeth. She sort of rubs her jaw as she says this, before making to stand up from the exam bed. Well, is there anything else you need me for today, Doctor? Javar and I were going to do some exploring.
No, you're free to go.
Right, well, have a good day.
And you.
Okay, so she makes to leave sickbay, but as she does, the doors slide open, and stepping in is the ship's counsellor, Counsellor Mavala, who gives her a big smile as she approaches the doorway before stepping aside to let her pass out into the corridor. Would you say in the sort of short few weeks that you've been aboard the Tenzing that you've really interacted much with Mavala?
I've probably met them, but that's probably about it.
Okay, so no kind of long sort of in-depth meetings or anything like that?
No.
No, okay. Mavala is a Cation, it's kind of like a big cat person. As I said, he gives Sarah a smile as she leaves, before heading in your direction. Good morning, Doctor. How are you today?
I am well, thank you. Thank you, Mbala. And yourself?
Oh, I am very well, thank you. I wanted to extend an invitation, in fact, to you for a little event I'm holding this evening. I feel as a department we don't really get to spend as much time just socializing with one another as maybe we should, getting to know one another outside of sickbay and such. So yes, I am holding a medical mixer at 1900 hours, and as Chief Medical Officer, I would be honored if you would attend.
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
Good. We will be in holodeck 2. And of course, anyone you wish to bring along will be most welcome.
Thank you very much. I shall see you then.
Excellent. See you this evening then. Have a good day, Doctor.
He turns and heads towards the exit, briefly stopping to extend the same invitation to Nurse Ireela, who is also on duty at the moment. They also seem excited to attend. Okay, so you have basically the whole afternoon before this mixer. It's pretty quiet in sickbay today. The main things you had on your schedule, other than sort of just routine duties, were the examinations of the tier survivors, and that's all kind of done for now. So what would you like to be doing in this time?
I think it's most likely that the doctor's going round and just making sure that all of their staff are okay.
Okay.
Just make sure that she doesn't pick up any concern or stress before the socialising tonight.
Okay, so using your sort of doubt and empathy sort of thing. Okay, let's do a check for this then, just to kind of represent sort of touching base with all your staff. On duty at the moment is, as I said, Nurse Ireela, who is a Trill, unjoined, so unlike Ray, has no symbiote. Nurse Tak, the Saurian, who was one of the two staff who greeted you during your first arrival in sickbay. And finally, Dr. Salat, who is a Vulcan junior doctor. Can I get then just a general insight roll? So this is going to be 2d20, aiming for under 11. 16 and 16. Okay. You're not really picking up any kind of stress or anything, I would say. You're finding people a little hard to read this afternoon, but outwardly nobody really seems worried or anything, even after Mavala talked to them. This seems like, if anything, there's sort of a bit of a kind of outward sort of like, oh good, something to do this evening kind of feeling in the air.
Fair enough.
Let's see what everybody else is up to then. So, as I say, it's kind of early afternoon. Where's Jonny? Where's Jonny Connaught this afternoon?
Good question. Is it a work day?
Sure.
Okay. Well, maybe you don't need to ask me what I'm doing then.
Okay, sure.
Murphy?
Amy, where's Jonny Connaught this afternoon?
After their recent trip, she's probably given him a light week.
Okay.
To be fair. In fact, she's going to let him have a study day, and it's a free study. He can study whatever he likes.
Oh, interesting. Okay, what's the I'm terrible. What was the character, the kid that had led us to the camp and everything? Is he still knocking about?
Yeah, he's still on board. I mean, you don't know this, but he did just sort of say it to Dr. Ireela, but Sarah, his mother, was taking him sort of exploring this afternoon. But
okay.
Yeah.
What's Bond up to at this point?
Bond, I think, is on is on duty in engineering.
Right. Okay, so I can't go and grab Bond. I was thinking maybe it was a boys' afternoon adventure on the holodeck kind of moment.
Not another protocol override.
No, it was going to be... Oh, no, I won't go into it. On that basis, then... It was going to be fun. It was just going to be like, he was going to get Jovar to like show him techniques and stuff, all the hunting and what have you that he knew, and then he was going to show him some techniques himself to be like, here's a trade.
And you're going to show off to Bonge.
Yeah, pretty much. And like, he's trying to get Bonge into this as well. Like that's kind of the angle in his mind. But no, won't be doing that. So instead, he's going to go and do some phaser practice because he missed that shot and screwed up equipment during the mission.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah, he's feeling a little bit wonky on that front, and there's a certain amount of shame. So yeah, phaser practice. I guess that would be a holodeck.
Sure, maybe one of the smaller ones.
Yeah, something pretty basic.
Yeah,
like straightforward target practice we're going for here.
Well, I have my points of interest Excel spreadsheet in front of me here. There's a tactical area, which is where Murphy's office is. Tactical planning. The large holodecks are on that deck. The small ones are on the same deck as sick bay, and there's medium ones on a couple of decks above. Sure, let's just put you in a small one. I know it's not too, but I'm just I was sort of thinking, like, is there a given sort of phaser range somewhere? But I don't think there really is. So yeah, you're able to book into holodeck 10, which is it's a kind of small holodeck. It's internally it's probably about the same size. It's about half the size of 10 forward, but with the holo technology, it seems pretty big inside, so you don't have any problem sort of feeling like you're in a small little cupboard or anything like that. But yeah, you are able to book into holodeck 10 for some phaser practice. What kind of environment would you like to be around you in this? What program are you loading? Let's go with that way.
Let's go for some standard Starfleet stuff. So it's just going to be kind of like we're looking at that kind of basic grey kind of like there might be a station that I'm behind, like just a grey block.
Okay.
And then floating targets kind of just appearing out.
So you're kind of in like a void sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sure. So you bring that up on the external console. The computer says,
"Program complete. Enter when ready."
And the doors slide open, and you are in. The floor is kind of visible, but it's a little bit sort of you can tell it's there, you know where the floor is, but it sort of stops at this kind of table block in front of you, on which are laying a variety of different types of phaser. You got the little kind of car door opener, tiny little Type 1 phaser. There's the ones you were carrying 2 of on the mission, the Type 2, and then there's also the phaser rifles.
Okay, he goes for the one, the same type that he used on the mission, because that's the intent here.
Sure.
Kind of weighs one in his hand and looks at... Is there another one, sorry, did you say?
There's a couple of each.
Okay, so he looks and thinks about the fact that he was carrying around 2, and did that hinder him, and kind of just dedicates himself to using one for this moment to see what happens.
Okay.
Computer, start a phaser training program at level 5.
So a variety of different targets begin to appear at a few different distances from you, all of which are kind of moving at different rates, some towards you, some side to side, some at sort of kind of odd twirling patterns and that. And you have a variety of targets ahead of you. You think about that missed shot on the planet, and you close your eyes, you take a deep breath, and we'll say that you've done the aim minor action, which means you can re-roll a single d20 on an attack made on this turn. As we're not really in a back and forth combat here, it's not going to be such a big deal, but you do get a re-roll on this. And so then can I get a control and security task for making the shot?
Okay, 2d20 like usual?
2d20, difficulty 2.
Okay, 14 and 5.
So there's control, security. You were aiming for under 13.
Okay, so that's going to be one of those re-rolls then.
Yeah, you can do the re-roll here.
Hey.
The 3, yeah, that's the aim action, proving itself useful immediately. So giving you the result of a 3 and a 5. So no criticals, but that aim really brought you that successful shot. So you were aiming for one of the trickier ones there, were you? I take it. Going for... all the targets are moving, they're just at different distances and things.
My intent here, I don't want to treat this as like, I don't want to spend the whole thing just being like, let's shoot all the targets.
No, we'll have this be representative, I think, of how Jonny's...
I feel like that's just like his general zen quality, kind of like it descended upon him, and just he managed to like take out a bunch of targets in a row or something like that, shall we say?
Sure, why not? Well, you've got the afternoon. Let's just say, like, rather than say, like, okay, Jonny took one breath and suddenly turned into some kind of, like, John Woo gun through kind of crazy, shooty Neo from the Matrix kind of man. This sort of shot, we'll just say, is representative of the afternoon that you're having, which is you spend a bit of time in here. You can easily book an hour or so in here with no problem. And kind of reflecting on having room for improvement on the mission. You think, you've gotten your eye back in, should we say? All right. What is Murphy doing?
I'd imagine she is probably writing her report of the mission in her office.
Okay.
While sipping a glass of whiskey.
So no one's coming in, it's fine.
she's like I'm writing my report. I'm in the office. Nobody's going to disturb me.
Yeah. There's a couple of people, like I said, we haven't ever really, even on screen, seen like the tactical office.
Yeah.
Because it's on the plans of the... This is where I've gotten where my spreadsheet that I've made of points of interest, I based it on the Enterprise D plans book that went out, and there's meant to be a whole kind of tactical planning and tactical department on Deck 11, but we never see it.
No, we never see it. We only ever see the armory.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, so that's where I've said Murphy's office is. So I'd imagine then that there is like a bigger tactical office. I guess we did see a tactical bit on Lower Decks on one of the episodes. But either way, though, you've got kind of an office there. I don't know how.
I'd imagine I've got like it's like in sick bay where in Voyager sick bay where he's got like that little like alcove kind of thing.
You got a little side
clear
area.
Glass.
Yeah,
and it's like clear and I can see out and stuff, but I can like shut the door.
You just standing there with the glass door staring out at everybody, just drinking your coffee or whatever.
Yeah, my whiskey's in my coffee mug.
Yeah. Okay. There's a few more of your officers are out there. Your second in command and in security is also there at her desk, typing away. Who I believe is the only other security officer that I've named other than Jonny, which is Lieutenant Sotor, who's a Bolian. she's focused on her work. So yeah, it seems everybody's working with Jonny not in the room. Everybody's working efficiently.
Nice calm day in the office.
Yeah, it's a nice calm day. No sign of Jonny Connell anyway. It's a calm day.
Hey.
There's a gentle ribbing there. I'm not.
Part of me wants Murphy to like hit, tap into the security feed and just like check on his progress and what he's doing today, and then be like, all right, he's fine.
You can ask the computer where he is. I don't think you can get a security feed of inside the holodeck.
Ah, damn. Oh well.
We sort of had you having security feeds of the outside of the holodeck when him and Vonj went in on the last one. Yeah. But I think that's a privacy issue there of being able to see what people get up to in the holodeck. But if you wanted to ask the computer where he was, you'd be able to find that out.
Yeah. No, I'll just leave it. It's fine. Just
yeah.
Continued writing her report and wince every now and again. She remembers like the freaking darts.
I was going to say, how are you wording your report then? So this is your official account of the previous mission. That's right. This episode is nothing but paperwork.
God damn it. She's probably bullet pointed it and then it's like filling out each bullet point as she goes. And then like she's planning it out. She hasn't written it fully yet. She's like getting the bare bones done and then being like, oh, I can't use crappy. Damn it. What's another word for crappy?
Yeah, I guess as part of this report you'd be giving an evaluation of of Jonny specifically as his direct superior, but I guess an evaluation of how you think the team worked together. As you were sort of nominally kind of the group, you were the one the captain sort of was like, right, you're leading this away mission. Sort of, how do you think it went is sort of what I'm asking here.
It would have went better if I didn't stupidly forget that sound created issues.
So you're owning up to
yes.
not like a mistake, but kind of a mistake. You're not kind of burying that then.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. I just wanted to kind of gauge get a sort of gauge there of the kind of thing that, yeah, you're sort of, even though you're wincing as you're writing it, you're being it's a fairly faithful report of what actually went on.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. No. Murphy would faithfully always report the facts and what happened, and she's not one to fudge on details of missions and things unless she's been told to by a superior officer for like security reasons or like security clearance or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Well, this takes you a little bit of time. This is kind of your afternoon, really. Yeah, the ship's at warp at the moment, so there's not really a huge amount going on otherwise. So yes, this is kind of your main activity. The afternoon is like, right, we're going to catch up on the paperwork, sort of thing. There's a little bit of sort of work to be done on shift rotations and things like that, but that's we'll kind of fold that in as like this is an office day for Murphy. This isn't a you've sent Jonny to have a training. Yeah. This is a day you've had earmarked to like, right, this is we'll sort all the paperwork out here, and then maybe tomorrow we can have some we'll do some training sessions or whatever. This is an afternoon to get ahead of the paperwork.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Lieutenant Commander Ray, what are you up to this afternoon?
Well, to continue the theme, I'm guessing it's a work day for me?
No, you're on an evening shift today. So you are currently... Yeah, that's right, I'm mixing it up. You are free this afternoon. Your shift starts at 5 p.m, 1700 hours. You have a couple of hours free before then.
Alrighty. So... what is Ray doing? Ray is spending a bit of his downtime. Probably I imagine I'm going over the sensor readings that came out of the Aurora.
Mm-hmm. Getting caught up on the stuff you missed then while you were down on the planet.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm guessing I'm sat back in my quarters.
Okay.
With a pad in hand, looking at all the data, looking at all the imagery that was caught, and just studying it.
Okay, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything specific that you're looking for, or are you just kind of just going over it, really? This is...
Just going over the data casually, not trying to read too much into it.
Okay.
But if I do notice something strange, then I notice something strange.
Well, let's see if you notice something strange then. In the name of us playing a role-playing game, can I get a reason science check from you, please?
You certainly can.
Difficulty 1. So you're looking for 17 and under.
Ooh.
Well, that's not the best start. A 2d20
really
as well, but that is a critical failure.
Of course, it's supposed to be 2, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah, but yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. I mean, you might still get the success on the other dice.
Okay.
Difficulty 1. Always worth rolling both dice, even if you have got a critical fail as well. There you go. That's a success. So I'm going to bank some threat.
Fair enough. You're going to bank some threat from me staring at data.
Yeah, nothing bad happens to you or anything, but I'm gonna convert that 20 into a point of threat I can spend at some point. You don't see anything weird. You see some of the visual. You bring up some of the images and that visually and that, and it's kind of, you got a little bit of a pang of regret that you didn't get to see them sort of personally from the ship's viewports at the height of it. Instead, you were hunkered down in a tent at the time, based on the timestamp. But nothing really weird stands out to you other than the sort of overall weirdness of like, wow, you don't get to see this very often, kind of thing. But yes, other than that.
So the threat is my own sense of disappointment that I missed it.
Yeah, except in game terms, that's a thing I can spend to make things harder for you later.
Fair enough.
On any check. So good job, I guess.
Good job. Good job. You've given me clearance to make your life harder.
I feel like I kind of talked you into making that check as well, which is a bit hard, but harsh. But
it's fine, mate. Hey, it's fine. If it gives you drama for later on, then I'm all for it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's how you spend your afternoon then, before reporting for duty on the bridge at 1700. Let's jump ahead a couple of hours then to about 1900, as Dr. Ireela, you are making your way to Counsellor Mavala's medical mixer, which is being held in holodeck 2. Would you say the Doctor's been in a holodeck since the kind of whistle-stop tour you were given by Jonny when you first came aboard?
Probably not since then, no. There's kind of been a lot going on.
Yeah, it's been a busy week or two. So yeah, as you approach the doors to holodeck 2 then, you can see immediately that the display panel has been programmed to say Mavala's medical mixer, all welcome, with an exclamation point at the end. The doors to the holodeck open for you, and you are greeted first by a slightly warm breeze of air. It's pleasant and fragrant. You can detect hints of a sort of flowery scent, although not from any plant that you're personally familiar with. Inside, you find yourself next to a small house on the bank of a large, calm lake at sunset. Distant rolling hills and mountains are visible across the water, which meets the shore near you at the end of a lush green lawn. A small jetty projects out into the lake, and there's a small sort of water vessel bobbing lazily next to it, tied to it. It's a very calming, sort of picturesque setting. You can hear the sounds of light music, a stringed instrument of some sort, and just visible on a small sort of deck at the back of the house is a group of people, all of which look familiar to you. From the group, Mavala notices your arrival and raises a hand in greeting before approaching.
Welcome, Doctor. I'm glad you could come.
You've picked or created a fantastic setting for...
Well, thank you. This is actually a recreation of my home back on Faraja.
Oh, how lovely.
Yes, it's one of my favorite places in the galaxy, so what better place to host all of my friends from here on the Tenzing for, well, what I hope will be an enjoyable evening.
A wonderful plan.
You can see, like I say, looking around there's a sort of the small group, and you recognise quite a few people who work in the medical department there. Not everybody is there, because as the chief medical officer, you would expect there to at least be somebody on
on shift.
Yeah, on shift at the moment. But you immediately recognise your sort of second in command, assistant chief medical officer, Dr. Wilkes, is there with a younger boy by his side who you place about 16 years old, but there's definitely a family resemblance there. Dr. Wilkes is chatting away to another one of the junior doctors, Mulvon, who's a Benzite female. You recognise a few of the nurses there, orderlies, one or two of the lab technicians that you've not really sort of had a huge amount of interactions with to this point, having only been on the ship for a week or so. But yeah, there's definitely some familiar faces there, along with some people you don't really recognise. There's some who aren't wearing a Starfleet uniform at all, and there's one or two wearing uniforms of other departments who seem to be sort of happily talking to other people. A lot of people have, they've got a sort of a glass in their hand or whatever. That you can see to one side there's a couple of tables set up, a sort of small buffet of sorts there to one side. The counsellor sort of says, "Oh, please come and join us," and people sort of give you a bit of a sort of friendly wave as you approach.
Again, could I do a general sort of looking at... Because it looks like everything's good.
Yeah.
But the commander's more than a little bit suspicious when everything looks happy and peaceful.
Okay, sure. Yeah, can I get then I think we just did a general insight check before, didn't we? Yeah. So difficulty 1 on this, 15 and a 7. So yeah, that's one success. Everybody seems mostly kind of genuinely sort of like they're having a good time. You're not sensing any negative emotions from anybody. You do suddenly though sense behind you a little bit of sort of not stress, but a sort of it's a kind of mixture of emotions of happy and having a great time, and happy that people are having a good time, but also a kind of low level general, not worry, but a kind of slight unease from one person. And turning towards them, you see it is in fact another Cation, not in Starfleet uniform. As you arrive at the group, Mavala moves to stand next to them, and he places a hand on their back.
Doctor, I don't believe you've met my wife, Lascelles. Darling, this is Dr. Ireela, the new Chief Medical Officer.
Lascelles greets you with a smile and a handshake, and you can see now that she is obviously pregnant and fairly far along.
Doctor, it's good to meet you. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other quite a lot over the next few months.
It's lovely to meet you too, and I hope to see you for happy occasions.
Yes. I'm glad we could meet before, let's say in a less stressful environment than I'm sure is to come.
She sort of pats her pregnant stomach.
Well, we'll make sure to have it as low stress for you as possible.
I'm glad to hear that. This will be our first child, so, yes.
So everything is new and exciting.
Yes.
As she's talking, the counsellor is sort of by her side. You get the feeling he is she's worrying more than he is. Sort of thing. She's feeling the sort of, again, apprehension is more the feeling rather than worry, I would say. This is all quite new, and he's sort of almost giving off he's sort of proud, like, oh, I'm going to be a father kind of feelings. She's like, oh, this is all quite new, and I'm
Yes, it's great and wonderful, but I'm the one who doesn't feel like my body is actually mine anymore, so fuck off.
Yeah, that's the feeling that you're picking up, sort of thing, of like maybe he's not quite being as, he seems a bit more, he's a bit more psyched about it at this particular moment. She doesn't, let's just say that's how I'll put it, sort of thing. Yeah, apprehension more than anything, which you get is the kind of low level kind of feeling you're picking up. She's generally happy though, and as I say, it's just a sort of, all this is quite new kind of thing.
Dr. Ireela will just smile reassuringly at her.
She just smile back. Like I say, it's almost like you wouldn't, if you didn't have your empathic sort of senses, you maybe wouldn't have known there was any kind of worry at all, really. It's you definitely kind of picked up on a low-lying sort of underlying sort of thing there. The counsellor sort of says, oh, if you'll excuse me, I need to go freshen my drink. He steps away for a second. Your Assistant Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Wilkes, turns to you at this point. It's good to see you, Doctor. It's good to get out of sickbay once in a while, isn't it? Tell me, how do these surroundings compare with your experiences down on Drakir 2?
This is a lovely and relaxing outing, as opposed to the away mission.
Yes. Well, who knows? Maybe next time I'll get to see it for myself.
Well, hopefully you won't have sound-triggered shooting plants.
Well, quite. I don't really remember those being covered back at Starfleet Medical. Still, sounds like you dealt with it quite expertly, though.
Very little to do with any medical skill, I'm afraid.
Well, at least we know what to keep an eye out for in future, though.
Yes, indeed.
Have you met my son? He sort of gestures to the young man who was still stood with the other group. He says, Daniel, come over here. This is Dr. Ireela. She's the new Chief Medical Officer. The boy sort of... You now get a closer look. He looks to be about 16. Again, he's sort of... He's giving off a sort of happy to be here vibes, but also I'm a teenager hanging out with a bunch of adults kind of vibe of like, maybe there's somewhere I'd rather be sort of thing. He's, friendly. Hello, Dr. Ireela. I'm glad to meet you. My dad's new boss, eh?
Yes, but I promise I'm not an ogre.
I know. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. What's an ogre?
An old creature of legend. That's all.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna get something to eat. He steps off to one of the tables. At this point, the counsellor returns and says, "Oh, of course. How could I forget? There's someone we are missing. Computer, activate emergency medical hologram." In between the sort of group of the three of you, a middle-aged, balding man in a medical uniform appears and says, "Please state the nature of the medical emergency." Stands there for a second, sort of staring forward, and then looks around. Well, nobody here appears to be injured. Why have I been summoned? The counsellor says, "Well, Doctor, we didn't think our gathering of the medical staff would be complete without you. I'm a doctor, not a party expert. Still, if you require my services here, I will do my best to blend in, counsellor." Stands awkwardly at one side and attempts to make a casual sort of pose, and you get the feeling this is a little bit outside his programming. But he says, I thought we would be good to treat him like one of the department. He is, after all, he's new to the ship as you are, Dr. Ireela.
Yeah, this is quite true.
So, I read some of the reports put back by the Pathfinder mission from Voyager, and yes, they had their emergency medical hologram active for the almost the entirety of their voyage. It was developed quite an interesting personality of its own.
Well, assuming our emergency doctor is happy to be here, I certainly have no issues with him being included in day-to-day life on the ship.
That's good to hear.
You're getting no emotions at all off of the doctor. He's 100% hologram, but visually speaking, it looks quite awkward. He's just sort of kind of standing there. It's like he doesn't really know how to socially interact with people. It's in fact maybe the first time he's been activated since he was installed. One of the things that was part of the Tenzing's refit when it was last at Earth was to outfit sickbay and certain other areas of the ship with holo emitters. Prior to that, this class of ship did not have an emergency medical hologram. So he's brand new, basically. So the evening, as I say, it passes enjoyably, should we say? The environment doesn't change, even though the time is changing. It seems to be that the counsellor has programmed this environment to basically be kind of ongoing magic hour just before sunset, should we say? Which is, it's quite a nice setting, really. There's food and there's some pleasant conversation had on the banks of this lake, which is, I say, the counsellor's real life home on Faraja. So, yes. And a good time was had by all. On the bridge, Ray, you are at the science station. Commander Tallinn is in the captain's chair at the moment, and you suddenly become aware of a beeping on the sensors. Looking down, you can see that there is a warp signature being detected in a nearby system that the computer... it's all coming up on the screen, basically, straight away. The computer does not recognise.
Commander, sensors are picking up an unknown warp signature in a neighbouring star system.
Intriguing. What do we know about the system, Commander?
Scanning now.
The computer provides you with the relevant information. The system in question is known as the Tratiran system, and it is home to one pre-warp civilization, also known as the Tratirans.
Sensors confirm that the signature is coming from the Tratiran system. There shouldn't be any warp technology in that sector. There's one pre-warp civilization. Something about that doesn't add up.
Can you confirm the speed of the sensor contact, Commander? For this, I am going to need a check.
You can need a check, fair enough. Okay.
So I'm going to need reason science, and I'm going to need somebody else to do a roll for the USS Tenzing using the sensors science.
I think Dragon has done that.
Well, you got 2 successes on yours, so that's a good start.
Yes.
So ship sensors, no big help there with the 19, but your own skill, you were able to sift through the data, takes you a minute or so, and bring up that this warp signature of whatever vessel it is only travelling at warp 1.1.
It's not going at any real speed at all, Commander. It's travelling at warp 1.1 from what I can tell.
Most intriguing. She taps her comm badge. Tallinn to Captain Collins. Brief pause, and here.
Go ahead, Commander.
Captain, sensors have detected a vessel in a neighbouring system. I suspect that this may be a first warp flight scenario. I request your presence on the bridge. This is another slight pause. He says,
I'm on my way. Hold the fort. Collins out.
Commander Ray, while this may turn out to be something other than what I just shared with the Captain, I will nevertheless require you to assemble any data and personnel necessary to conduct a briefing shortly about what Starfleet knows about the pre-warp civilization in that system.
With that, I go about gathering
Gather
people.
Who you want and who you would like to be in the briefing. So you start to sort of look up a bits and pieces on the ship's computer of what's available. As you do, the captain arrives on the bridge and is appraised of the situation by Commander Tallinn. He agrees and taps his comm badge, and both Murphy and the Doctor, you get a message.
Collins to senior staff. We have a situation developing, and I would like you all to assemble for a briefing in the main conference room in 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yes, Captain.
Let's say you're still talking to your assistant CMO, and he kind of sort of raises an eyebrow at the word situation, because it's all audible over the comm system, and sort of says, "I'll take your drink," and yes, you are free to leave the party. And counsellor of ours gives you a sort of, thank you for coming, Doctor. Duty calls, it seems.
Thank you for inviting me. See you later. She smiles around at anyone that, actually is looking over before.
You get friendly waves back, and you leave the holodeck. Murphy, you also get this call.
Hi, Captain. I'm good. And she puts down her coffee mug, gets herself organised, and heads up to the conference room.
Is it still hot to down it all in one go before you leave?
No.
You can get like one of those travel mugs with like a like a handle on it with it's like a flask, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she's not taking it with her. If she wants another coffee, she can replicate one.
I was going to say, it's a bit brazen just walking into the
yeah, it's a bit too casual.
Just walk in with a coffee, like, what's going on? Like, yeah.
Walk in like you're dressed in gown kind of thing. I'm here.
Hair curlers in. Oh god.
I would say, yeah, you're probably off shift as well by this point.
Dressing down hair curlers, cucumber slices on the eyes.
Yeah, my hair's undone. That's about it. I've still got my uniform on.
Yeah, I mean it's not late in the evening. It's
no.
Yeah. Again, I think this is another point where Jonny, being the only non-senior staff player character we have, would not get the call. So just in the name of checking back in, what would you say Jonny's doing? This is probably about 8 o'clock in the evening now. 8:30, let's say. It's
He's probably tried to hang out with Bonge, and if Jovar is in any way around, he's going to try and bring him into the fold a little bit, just to try and make him feel welcome, just to be friendly.
Okay. Well, Bonge is definitely off shift now as well. You guys were probably both on the same shift pattern, except Bonge was in, he was working in engineering. You were basically told, go off and do some training. Mm-hmm. But you both came off shift at the same time as day shift ended.
Computer, could you tell me the location of Jovar, please?
Their quarters, deck 5.
Okay. Shall we say Johnny's gone down towards engineering, and he's not quite met Bonge yet. So he's just found out where Jovar is, and he's going to meet Bonge just as he finishes his shift.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so you head down to main engineering. Bonge has got his head kind of in a data pad as he's walking away. So I think it doesn't really see you as you're just kind of hanging out by the turbo lift.
Yeah. He knows Bonge's routine at this point. So yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't see you as he's kind of walking towards the turbo lift.
Okay. Hey, Bonge.
Oh, hey, Jonny.
Hey, I was thinking we could give a warm welcome to Jovar.
Jovar?
Yeah, he was the teenager that helped me and the rest of the crew down on the planet there. Led us through the forest. He seemed to know a thing or two about survival, and, he might have some stories to tell, and he's kind of new to all this space stuff, so I thought it'd be interesting to sort of bring him into the fold a little bit.
Sure. I mean, I was just going to grab some dinner. Does he eat? I mean, what's the...
Well, I should hope so. And Jonny kind of opens the turbo lift and heads in, and they're going to head on their way.
Oh, okay. Lead the way then.
Cool. And they head in the direction of Jovar.
Okay, you get off on deck 5, which is just below the main shuttle bay. There's some VIP guest accommodations there. The computer's able to direct you to the correct quarters, and you press the button. There's a brief pause, and the door is opened by by Javar's father, William.
Oh, hey there, Ensign. We weren't expecting you. How's it going?
Oh, I'm good. Well, it's been a few days, and I thought you guys might have acclimatized a little bit, but I thought Jovar might want to come out with me and my friend Bonge here.
Bonge gives him a little sort of wave. He kind of gives... this is probably the first Ferengi he's seen, as they definitely weren't a going concern when the ship crashed.
Hey there. How you doing?
I was wondering if Jovar might want to come out for a meal, or just to sit and have a drink with us, just to have, I don't know, just to get to know Starfleet a little bit potentially, and get to know what's going on out here.
Well, sure. I'll see if he's free. He's probably a little young for drinking, though.
Oh, I didn't necessarily mean anything alcoholic.
Well, all right then. I mean, he's 17, but look, I was young once too. But there wasn't any alcohol back on the planet. I don't want it to go to his head. That's all.
No, that's definitely not what I meant. I meant just friendly hangout. I mean, I can imagine he's felt kind of at odds with the world because he's not known anybody even close to his age before. So I just thought it'd be nice for him to sort of get to know somebody closer to his own age a little bit.
I was going to say, Jovar was, I think I said 17. How old's Jonny again? I know I've asked you this before, but I've blanked it.
Early 20s.
Yeah.
Was, I think the call on that.
Yeah. William kind of he turns his head back into the quarters for a second.
Jovar, Ensign Connaught and his friend are here. Want to know if you want to head out, get some food, or go for a walk or something?
Jovar sort of appears after a couple of seconds. Oh, hi. Where do you want to go? This is a big place.
Oh, let me give you the tour. And Jonny kind of proceeds to, and I don't necessarily want to actually go through this,
sure,
but commences a version of the tour.
The Jonny tour, yeah.
This is probably a little bit more gung-ho, and he's going to give a more action-packed version of Starfleet history as he walks around and explains everything. And that potentially, I don't know, this is up to you, would Jovar potentially receive the tactical information of, like, here's the cover points, here's all that kind of stuff, a little bit more well than the previous recipient?
Oh, well, yeah, a bit more, yeah, I'd say probably. He seems a bit more interested in that stuff than maybe the Doctor did. At least from what you could gather. In fact, you know what? Let's have you doing it. Can I get an insight check for this?
Okay. Oh dear.
Oh dear. Well, that's another point of threat I'm going to take there. The 20 and a 13. Jonny, you know, what kid wouldn't be interested in this? You know, you would imagine that seems pretty interested. Although, I will say, I'll give it you for free that he does. You know, he doesn't look bored. He does look like he's paying attention and things. And you would maybe put together that his upbringing in a dangerous sort of jungle world meant he is quite sort of conscious of things he could use to his advantage in an environment. At least this is what Jonny's imagining. That of course he would be. Of course he'd be, excited to hear all this stuff and interested in it. That's kind of the vibe you get.
Oh. Well, yeah, that's what Jonny will spend his time doing, and yeah, they will lead towards a meal at 10 forward.
You do know Bond is taking a few notes as well as at some of the Starfleet history facts that you're throwing out that maybe he didn't. You don't know whether it's just that he's like, oh, I didn't know that, or whether he's like, that doesn't sound right. But you definitely see him making notes on his data pad a couple of times. Yeah, you eventually end up somewhere to have a meal, whether that's 10 forward or... I mean, this is the other thing as well. There's plenty of crew lounges on board ship as well. It's not all 10 forward.
Oh, well, that's Johnny's... He takes
that's his favourite place.
His spot.
Yeah.
Like that.
You got your favourite table. Yeah. Okay, right. So the senior staff gather in the conference room. Unlike on the Enterprise, the view is slightly obscured by the rear superstructure of the Nebula class with the large sensor pod, but you can still see a lot of space out that window. There is a long conference table with quite a few seats around it, and the captain has taken a seat at the head of the table. So the first question really I should ask then is... Ray, who did you bring on to make this presentation?
Captain, for this presentation, I've enlisted Lieutenants Stein and Thomas, historian and anthropologist, respectively.
The captain sort of nods to the three of you as you sort of... There's a screen and things, and you can display things.
Lieutenant Stein, would you begin?
Thank you, sir. He steps forward and he sort of nods to everyone at the table, which I would guess we'll have a rundown at the table then. So you got Captain Collins, Commander Tallinn, Dr. Ireela, Lieutenant Commander Murphy, and Commander Carter, Chief Engineer. So it's basically all the big names of the ship. He says, thank you, sir. The Draterian system has long been known to be home to the Draterian civilization, and 14 years ago, Starfleet's science conducted a covert infiltration survey to determine not only how close they would be to warp travel themselves, but also the general kind of outlook of the society and how they would react to external intervention and pressures. Frankly, sirs, it estimated the current rate of development, they shouldn't be developing any kind of warp travel for at least another century, and this was 14 years ago. At the time of the expedition, they just begun sort of early spaceflight and satellite technology experiments. Really, this is... If the signature that we've detected is a warp vessel, it's... I would be very surprised if it's theirs.
Basically, Captain, the estimates given for when the civilization should reach warp capability is either way off, or something's interfered with their natural progression and technological advancement. Either way, I don't believe we should ignore this.
I agree. Tell me, what are they like as a people? What makes them tick? Lieutenant Thomas cuts in at this point. Well, culturally, sir, frankly, they're quite a paranoid and intensely sort of stratified theocratic society. They're intensely religious, and they believe that their people were given the knowledge and power to rise up by what they call the Loldron, or the Lords on High. They're sort of deity figures who they believe kind of watch and judge them in life and weigh their sins in the afterlife. And frankly, the priesthood really lead the civilization. Part of the reason why the science team estimated it would take so long before they developed warp travel is because of this. Any scientific advancements deemed not to be in keeping with the priesthood's traditions and teachings are liable to be suppressed. Those who show signs of divergence from the teachings are often dealt with rather harshly.
Doesn't sound too different from pre-1,000 Years War Christianity or back on Earth.
They concluded in this, in their current form, their society is unlikely to be compatible with the ideals of the Federation, but by its very nature, that's going to stunt the speed of their scientific advancement. He presses a button on a pad, and the screen behind you sort of shows a rotating figure. These are the Draterans. The expedition, while it was there, made detailed scans of their physiology, and we have a complete translation of their language on record, so the universal translators should work fine. You can see on the screen the figure that's rotating is it's a humanoid, roughly 5 foot in height, with grey skin and completely white hair tied into a quite tight sort of ponytail out of the way, and round the eyes are a series of red dots. It's the only colourful markings on them.
Are they a violent society?
Well, they are united as a planetary society. There doesn't seem to be any wars, but that may just be a relic of the survival of the fittest, as it was. Those who dealt the harshest with the non-believers are the only ones left, maybe. But we don't have a full timeline of their history at this point. But it's possible. The paranoid nature of them and was definitely noted. It's possible they may not be 100% peaceful.
Certainly sounds as though things could easily become quite volatile.
Commander Tillin nods this and says, "We should proceed with caution, Captain. Of course. I want everything by the book. We dust off the first contact procedures with this one. I don't want any kind of incident." Okay. How soon could we intercept them? I can't imagine they're going anywhere fast at Warp 1.
Well, we're already pretty close to the system, Captain. We could get there at high warp in about 10 minutes.
Might I suggest we drop out of warp at a distance, Captain, and then approach on impulse? Then they might not get so spooked from us.
That's a good idea, Commander. We don't want to provoke them into doing anything rash. Plus, it'll give us a chance to get some more detailed scans of their vessel. All right, well, thank you, Commander Ray. Lieutenants, this has been informative. Everyone get to your stations and, let's do this right. We only get one chance to make first contact. Okay, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with the next chapter of this story on Thursday, January 20th, and we hope you'll all join us for that. In the meantime, as I said at the top of the show, you can find links to all of our social media presences and our Discord server, as well as much more at pretendingwithdice.com. So for now, that's our show. We hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.